All right, welcome everyone. Grab your notebooks and your highlighters because we are diving straight into an absolute must-know topic today. I'm really thrilled to have you here for this final revision explainer. If you're sitting for the May 26th exam, well, consider this your absolute masterclass. We're going to lock down the exact concepts you need to guarantee you are perfectly prepped. Our focus today is Chapter 3, specifically navigating the fascinating mechanics of foreign listings. Now, I know the pressure's on as exam day approaches, and Chapter 3 can seem, notoriously tricky, but it's actually fundamentally logical once you see the mechanics in action. By the end of this session, you are going to have absolute clarity. Let's get to work. Here's our final revision study guide. We're going to cover the expected exam question, direct listings explained, the depository receipt route, a direct versus indirect comparison, and finally, your key exam takeaways.
Okay, Section 1, the expected exam question. Let's frame the exact problem you need to solve to get those maximum marks.
So here's a highly anticipated prompt for your May 26th exam. How does a domestic Indian company list on foreign stock exchanges? This is a classic concept. When you see this, the examiners literally aren't just looking for a one-word answer or a textbook definition. They really want to see that you understand the underlying mechanics of international finance. Imagine you're advising the board of directors of a major domestic firm, and you need to present them with their options. We're going to break down the two specific contrasting methods you need to provide to absolutely ace this prompt and show the examiner you grasp the real-world application.
Moving right along to Section 2, direct listings explained. Let's see how this direct route operates.
Now, the absolute key concept to grasp right off the bat here is the total absence of any middleman. A direct listing is exactly what it sounds like. A domestic Indian company lists itself directly on stock exchanges in permitted foreign countries. Think of it kind of like a farm selling its products straight to you at a local farmer's market. There's no distributor, there's no grocery store acting as a broker. The golden phrase to remember, the one you absolutely got to write on your exam paper for full marks, is without using an intermediary. The company goes straight to the foreign exchange. It's a straight-up, hand-to-hand relationship. So, why does that matter? Well, make sure these three specific mechanical advantages make it into your answer. Because this route excludes intermediaries. It triggers this awesome chain reaction of operational benefits. First, it decreases overall transaction costs. Without a middleman taking a heavy cut or underwriting fees piling up, the listing process is just fundamentally cheaper for the company. Second, it increases transparency. Dealing directly with the exchange means there aren't any murky, opaque layers hiding the details. The pricing and the share availability, totally clear. It's direct, it's highly cost-effective, and it offers maximum transparency for everyone involved. All right, Section 3, the depository receipt route. Having mastered the direct approach, let's contrast it with the indirect method. The crucial point here is that an intermediary is absolutely mandatory. When we talk about ADRs, which stands for American Depository Receipts, and GDRs, Global Depository Receipts, we are talking about an indirect route to overseas markets. In this setup, the Indian company just cannot offer its shares directly to the foreign public. They are entirely dependent on a middleman to make this transaction happen. Because as we all know in finance, there's always someone willing to stand in the middle and take a fee, right? Basically, no middleman, no foreign listing in this scenario. Let's walk through the exact step-by-step mechanism you should write out to show how this works conceptually. This is the story you need to tell the examiner. Step 1. The Indian company issues its shares, but not to the foreign public. Instead, it issues them to a foreign depository bank. Think of this bank like a giant vault. Step 2. That bank acts like a financial transformer. It takes those original shares, locks them securely in the vault, and creates a totally new financial instrument, the depository receipt, which is backed by those original shares sitting in the vault. Finally, Step 3. It's that newly created receipt, not the raw share, that gets listed and traded on the foreign stock exchange. The original shares stay locked up safe. The receipts are what actually trade hands in the market. Which brings us to Section 4, direct versus indirect comparison. This is the climax of our explainer, synthesizing everything for your revision notes. Here is the exact mental framework you're going to need to systematically map out their differences on exam day. Notice how perfectly the mechanics mirror each other here. For the root type, it's a simple binary, direct versus indirect. Intermediaries, explicitly excluded in a direct listing, but absolutely required for ADRs and GDRs. The entity used, none for the direct route, but you've got that specialized foreign depository bank for the indirect route. And most importantly, what is the actual tradable asset? In a direct listing, actual shares are being traded. In the indirect route, depository receipts are what change hands. Build this matrix in your head, and you can crush any comparative question they throw at you. Look, if you remember literally nothing else from today's explainer, Remember this fundamental distinction conceptually. It's all about who is taking the asset to the foreign market. In a direct listing, you directly offer shares. With ADRs and GDRs, you are physically handing those shares over to a foreign depository bank so they can go ahead and create those tradable receipts. It's the difference between doing the international expansion yourself versus paying a bank to translate your equity into a completely new tradable instrument. That is your core exam distinction.
Finally, Section 5, Final Exam Takeaways. Let's firmly lock in your understanding with a success checklist. Keep these core principles memorized, and you are going to navigate May 26th with absolute confidence. First, always highlight that the direct route saves overall transaction costs and massively boosts transparency. Second, explicitly state that ADRs and GDRs rely entirely on foreign depository banks to act as that bridge. And third, the overarching theme of your exam answer should relentlessly focus on the presence or absence of the intermediary. That single factor literally changes the entire financial mechanism. It is the absolute pivot point of Chapter 3.
I know you know the answer to this one. Maximum transparency and zero middlemen means you are confidently writing about the direct listing route on May 26th. But here's a final kind of provocative thought to leave you with, just to really deepen your understanding. If the direct route is cheaper, faster, and more transparent, why on earth would any massive global corporation willingly choose the slower, more expensive, intermediary-heavy ADR or GDR route instead? What hidden strategic benefits are they actually paying that middleman for? Think about that as you continue your finance journey. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Trust your preparation and go out there and crush that exam.